Welcome to a segment of Mind You and Food. This is Suzanne Toro, and this segment is brought to you by BeSimply. Let's dive in. Welcome. This is Suzanne Toro, and I want to thank you. Today we're going to dive in on this segment of Mind You and Food into summer salads and mocktails and reading the labels. So these seasonal conversations are really here to help assist your well-being, also dive into the passion of food and the potential of what occurs when you break bread together in person. It's really beautiful. And so as we're diving into this topic of salads and summer, this is actually helpful to both all regions of the world. So wherever you're in the world, whether you're in the southern or northern hemisphere, salads are really helpful. In the summer, here in the northern hemisphere right now, eventually in the southern hemisphere, with the warmer days, a salad is a perfect item to eat. And I always like to remind people that, you can prepare your salad and leave it out because it's actually better if it's more towards room temperature. For many reasons, for your digestion. In addition, everything that grows outside isn't in a fridge or cooled unless it's a cooler part of the world. So in the summer, we want cooling temperatures, cooling foods. And then if you're in the southern hemisphere right now, or whenever you're listening to this for winter, it's really a good balancing act to have those green leafy salads, be creative with seasonal foods to help give you the roughage to break down that which you've consumed. And you can do this at the start and the end of the meal. At the start, it really prepares your system for absorption and preparing the entire digestion tract and stomach for the food. And then depending what you eat, it'll help on top push it through. And also, as I've mentioned to people before, if you have a sweet tooth and you haven't quite mastered your relationship with that sweet tooth, if you tend to overabide in sugar in any form, especially refined sugar or sweets that you might have prepared, lettuce, especially romaine lettuce, will cut the transmitters to the palate and kind of give you a break, and then you can go upon your day and switch from wanting to keep feeding that sugar addiction. And that, really takes you up on a little bit of a high, and then you crash down. So that's why there's this oh, I want more. You can see it really well with kids. So for summer, there's a lot of beautiful options for salad. You can just go to your local market and get creative with those items. You'll see this, and I think I mentioned it last week, with the probiotics and the different things that are available, that they'll have little tastes on the side. And that's how I really recommend even serving a salad is let the veggies stand on their own. If you make a dressing, put it on the side so you can dress it, or your guests can dress it. And then if you have leftover, you can save it for the next day. For me, I like it for breakfast. And again, you can leave your salads, depending where you live, out. You can cover them up with a cloth on your table and enjoy them the next day. You don't necessarily have to shove them into a plastic bag or container. Just let them breathe. And I wouldn't recommend, especially if it's super warm, doing that more than one night. But just think about it that way, that you have the opportunity. And the fresher that you make things, the better, because you will have the nutrition and the nutrients there for your entire body, mind, heart, and soul. And so a lot of times people feel overwhelmed. Maybe they get back from work. Maybe they've had too much sugar all day or caffeine, and they're not feeling really motivated to eat. But I really recommend, even if you're watching what you eat, that you get nutrient-rich meals or a meal in you that's well balanced with veggies, cooked, raw. If you eat meat or fish or chicken, that in there too, and balance it all out so that you can feel good with your nutrition. Because otherwise, if you're like, oh, I ate all that junk, I'm not going to eat anything, you're depriving your body. So you might as well dive into even just a salad is amazing. So today's recipe, and if any of the listeners want, I have some printed cards. If you DM me a mailing address and your name, I'll be happy to share the fancy cards with you. We did a cooking class, a Thai takeout cooking class. I believe it was last spring or summer time. Super yummy. So you could get all those recipes. Just send me a little message and I'll pop it in the mail to you. One of the recipes is featured here today, and you can see that salad. This is a steak salad. However, you can do it without steak. You can do cabbage wedges to make a steak, or you could do a portobello mushroom, or a series of the oyster mushrooms, which are more appropriate for this time of year, just from Chinese medicine, Ayurvedic standards. But you can see what's available in your world. The cabbages are so nice, and it really makes it, it's a hearty, gift to yourself. So irregardless if you eat meat or not, that's your choice. That's your private decision. And this recipe can work either way. So you will see the first part of this recipe is just a marinade. And you can do this on the cabbage too. It's just, you wouldn't do it as potentially long because you want it to hold its firmness when you put it on the grill. So you're going to mix up your marinade and let the steak marinate in that, or the cabbage wedges, get a good size wedge. And then from there, you're have a dressing, which you're going to keep on the side. Now, some of these Asian salads, I'll admit, like noodle salads, they're kind of like lasagna. You add the dressing and it gets better the next day. So you could kind of go either way, just disregard everything I said. And because we're using cabbage in this recipe, it gives it it's a little bit heartier, so it doesn't get wilted. Like if you use a nice, delicate artisan lettuce or mix, if you put the dressing on, it will get, everything will become kind of soft and soggy, which isn't so much fun for the lettuce or you. So in this recipe, it has lime juice, it has chili pepper, sunflower oil, fish sauce. You can avoid the fish sauce if you're vegan or vegetarian, vegetarian too. Sugar, honey, garlic. That's your dressing. And then similar ingredients are in the marinade with some ginger, soy sauce, sesame oil, olive oil, all of that. And you can use a filet. You could use a different cut of a steak, whichever you prefer to marinate. A flank steak is one that accepts the marinade really well, or those cabbage. Or I would do portobello mushrooms. They can handle being marinated a little bit better. And then from there, it's really simple. You're going to grill up whatever you choose. Indoor grill, as I mentioned, it's better from the standpoint of carcinogenics, healthier eating. And then from there, you're going to take your assembly. You're going to take your ramen noodles, which you can either make to al dente or leave them dried because they'll absorb the dressing and expand. Sesame oil, you're going to have a large mango peeled and cut. You're going to have arugula, watercress, carrots that are finely shredded, scallions, finely shredded cabbage, cherry tomatoes, avocado, cilantro, basil, mint, coconut flakes, and you're going to blend that all up in a bowl. Let your steak rest. You're going to slice it up, or your wedges. You can slice those a little bit or just leave the nice big chunks on top. And then you add the dressing, and you could basically do your salad, add the dressing, toss it, and then add your quote unquote steak, whichever you choose. Super yummy, so good, great for summer, great thing to bring to parties or family get-togethers. People will rave over it and love it. So this can get your ideas flowing and see what you want to make. And like I said, these noodle salads, Thai, Vietnamese, all those get even better, like that lasagna the next day. So that can work in a different way for the leftovers. So the other part I was wanting to share is about reading labels. A lot of times it's become confusing because now we have non-GMO food, non-genetically modified food, which is a complicated topic we'll talk about someplace else, some other time. But if you're inspired, start looking at your labels. And one example that I tend to look out for is silicone dioxide. And it was interesting as I was going through to try to explain this, I found something in the links below from Medical News Today. And it talks about that sometimes silicone dioxide, it has nano or non-nano silica, nano meaning nanotech or nanoparticles in their products, which would mean synthetic. And when you're taking anything that's packaged, there are certain things that they will do. However, the pure source you can get, natural whole foods, the better. So read your labels. There's other things. If you don't know what's in it, look it up before you buy it, or take the time to write the name down and look it up online, and then maybe go back and buy it. These little things, even like GMOs or non-organic food, actually impact your health more than you know. So if you're eating carrots that are conventionally grown and they're using a pesticide, you're causing more harm than good through eating that carrot. So think about it. There's lots of ways to clean our vegetables. There's amazing technologies out there and methodologies for cleaning, and I'll do a show on that in the future. Now, what I found when I was going through this, there is an organic silicone dioxide, and they're using it more in Northeast India, and they get it from bamboo. And so that's very plentiful. I love when our modern day world uses nature to do the same thing that they've created synthetically in a lab. And anytime you have something synthetic, the body doesn't necessarily know. It may adapt, but over time, if you keep piling on artificial things in the body, it could cause disharmony, quote unquote, dis-ease in the body, and then it takes some time to rebalance the system. So check those out below, and if inspired, take some time to read your labels. Now, the next thing, and if you have any questions, please feel free to send them to me if you don't understand how to do that, or you have a question about an ingredient. I'm happy to answer it if I have the information, or I will do my best to find an answer for you. And so another fun activity to do in summer months, because there's a lot of fresh produce, spring and summer especially, is to go to farmers markets and farm-to-table places. So here in California, there's a couple fun finds that I put below. There's farm-to-table food trucks, ones that have harvests from their farm and then their menu, and then even some of the stuff that you would keep in your pantry, like pickled olives, I don't know, pickled eggs, any kind of fermented food, or sweet fruits that have been jarred for jam or for pies. So you might look in your area, depending where you are in the world, to see if you can have a farm-to-table experience, because this is a great way to get out. It's inexpensive to go to a farm stand, or you can go to a restaurant that does that too. And so I put a link in this California farm-to-table food trucks. It's put on by roaminghunger.com, and they had all over the United States. And I didn't look worldwide, but I'm sure you'll find something in your area, because we are moving to more of a farm back to a seasonal farm eating approach for life throughout the world. Also, here in Southern California, there's a farmhouse. It's by Rogers Garden. It's a really beautiful architecture, and that's farm to table. They have produce box and curbside pickup and some pretty fancy cocktails and mocktails. So if you are inspired, check that out, and maybe even go by. And remember, if you don't want to go have a full meal, you can go and have an appetizer, a drink. You can wander around. Rogers Gardens, if you're traveling through Southern California, is a really magical place. And so there's lots of ways to engage with these environments. And you can do the full enchilada, get the whole meal and, the nines, or you can just take the simple approach. It's your choice. Then there's this great, it's called Farmer's Table. It's a neighborhood eatery. It's down in San Diego area, and they have a couple locations in La Mesa, Little Italy, Bay Park, and Chula Vista. They have some interesting things on their menu. I have not been here, but it looks fun. The ambiance is beautiful. It's all well thought out. And some shocking, their Bloody Mary is a little shocking. It's like, I'm going to let you look that up. It's in a picture. I'll tell you that much. And then you look it up and get back to me what you think about that. So as inspired, get out. And then also usually, like I know in our neighborhoods, we have farmers market several times a week. And evening ones are a lot of fun. It's a nice way to end your summer day, get out, eat on the earth, pick up some of your groceries, and move from there. So one other practice that's really good for cooling in the summer, especially if you've been in the sun, I really recommend it year round, is an Ayurveda self-abhyanga massage, is where you apply oil to your entire body. When I take people through cleanses and reboots, I create, if they want one, a custom blend oil based on what's going on with their constitution and their body and their mind and their heart and soul. Today I've put a general seasonal body oil that you can create on your home. You can DIY it. Or I'll put the link if you want a custom one. You just message me and I'll send you the link how to do that. Either way, putting the oil on daily, the benefits are that you're nourishing your entire body, you're hydrating your entire body, and you're pulling toxins from the body. And this is really important. The skin is the largest organ. So when we get the oil everywhere, it's a little messy, but you get used to it. That will help pull everything out. And then you can shower, you can scrub it off or leave it on. And it's your choice. You can kind of mix it up. You can do it before or after. Being that the intention is to pull some toxins out, sometimes it's nice to put the oil on all over the body, do a salt scrub in the shower, an oily salt scrub, and then come out and then apply a thin layer just for absorption and hydration to the skin. And when you take the time to massage your body daily, you start to notice things a little sooner than maybe you would, because you're not accustomed to touching your body. And when we touch our body, this actually creates an opportunity for you to release and let go and acknowledge what's shifting in the body earlier than if all of a sudden you're like, whoa, I had no idea that was there. So as inspired, take some time for that summer self-massage. And so the other thing, what we're going to close on is mocktails. Mocktails are really a beautiful offering, aka a virgin drink. And a lot of people are realizing, depending where they are in their life, that they either want to live alcohol-free life, or they're employing a lot more moderation. They're learning how to use alcohol. So it's really easy. And to have a mocktail, you can just blend anything you like. You can tell the bartender, or you could look on the menu and choose something and say you want it to be virgin. In addition, we'll have some tinctures coming up, blends that are nice. A lot of times people out there, if you have anxiety, stress. People like to drink to relax. We'll be delivering some things that will make it a little bit more fun. Next week, I'll share a recipe and ways to relax your system without, numbing out with the alcohol, because that's what inevitably it happens. And a nice, there's so much beautiful vineyards. If you travel to vineyards and the wineries and even the distilleries, a lot of love goes into those. So what I recommend is, if you are abiding in that, connect with it on that level, the artistry of it, and the process of coming together and having a conversation and connecting with each other, not so much like consuming without being able to stop. So, all right. So today, I appreciate you all being here. If inspired, take some time to create a fun salad. If you have a favorite, feel free to link a picture to me or send a picture to me. I love to see what people create. May we all inspire one another. And as mentioned, if you want, I still have some of the Thai takeout cards, fancy cards. Just send me a message with your address and I'll mail it to you. And remember, nourishment is a way to heal, transform, and love your entire being. So take time to nourish you, even if it's just you. Take time. So until next time, this is Suzanne signing out with a full heart, a soft gaze, a deep bow, and a namaste. Be simply. Once again, I want to thank you all for listening into this segment of Mind You and Food. As inspired, check out the links below. And if you have the space, check out those local farmer markets, farm stands, farm to table eateries, and maybe come up with a new salad for the summer months that you really enjoy. And if you have a few more moments, please stay. Enjoy the music created by Kadri Scott. Be aware. Until next time, this is Suzanne.
just think about how you felt. With the bliss of ignorance, you confine yourself.